Good afternoon. I am Amber Miller, your host for Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin, and I'm also the Associate State Director with AARP Wisconsin. And I want to thank you so much for joining us, whether it's live or if you're watching the replay. Later on, towards the end of the show, I will be talking to you about some upcoming events that AARP Wisconsin will be hosting that might be of interest to you. But today we are celebrating National Women's Small Business Month, which is in the month of October. So this takes place every single year. This is a time to recognize the achievements of our country's female entrepreneurs and the positive impact they are making on jobs and the economy. So I am joined with two female small business owners, Debra Lash-Stangel and also Carolyn Walker. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Yes, thank you guys so much. And I will just tell the audience just one little thing. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so if you can bear with me, I appreciate it. We will be taking live questions. So if you have questions for any of our guests today, please post them below if you're joining us on facebook.com, or if you're joining us on YouTube, you can post them and we will be taking them shortly. So ladies, thank you again for all you do for small businesses. So I'm going to start with Carolyn. So Carolyn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business?
Absolutely. I have a graphics and printing company. I started 22 years ago in Milwaukee, Great Impressions Graphics and Printing. And we provide services to large corporations, but mostly to individuals, small businesses like myself, and one-to-one customers.
Great, thank you. And Debra, tell us a little bit about yourself and the businesses that you own.
I have I was in the corporate world, I guess, my first career, and working for two egotistical men that would not let me be a partner like they said they were going to. So I stopped my foot and said, fine, I'll buy my own business. And the only thing I could find for sale was a bridal shop. And I had never worked retail even. So, but I bought that's the only thing I could find for sale that I could afford. So I bought it, and that was 1996 when the sale was final. This is my 25th year. Started my 25th year here. And then since then, I bought the building and I renovated the third floor for a venue, which is called the Court Above Main. And I took over the La Crosse Wedding Expo. And that we publish a magazine for that also.
Great. Definitely sounds like very two interesting industries. So Carolyn, why did you choose to open your own business in Milwaukee?
Well, like Deborah, I was working for, other people, and I just felt like I wanted control over my life. I wanted to make decisions for myself. I had two young kids, and I wanted to have control over whether or not I could take off to take them on a field trip or be at home with them when they were sick. So I just, decided to stop working for someone else and work for myself.
Great. And Debra, did you want to add on to that same question? You talked a little bit about how you were also kind of working with two males and it just kind of didn't work out with the business partnership, but did you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I agree 100% with Carolyn. I had three children, and owning a business gave me the flexibility to be able to take off and be there after school. However, also on the flip side of being an entrepreneur is often after I put them to bed, I would have to go back to work. But at least the flexibility was there to get to all of their games and do the field trips and stuff like that.
Yep. So thank you guys so much. So today we are this entire month, we're celebrating National Women's Small Business Month. We have two entrepreneurs with us today, Debra Lash-Stangel and also Carolyn Walker. So if you have any questions for either of these small business owners, please put them below, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook.com, maybe we'll get to your questions shortly. So Debra, as a small business owner, I know a lot of people want to be their own boss, and they might look at the successes more than the struggles of, wow, I'm going to make $3 million my first year. I'm maybe going to work 3 hours a week. And, that's not always the case. So what are some of the struggles and successes of owning your own business?
Well, that it's interesting you say that, because whenever I do field trips or speak to the colleges or high schools, I always say, if you want to make some real money and get rich fast, you should for sure, absolutely, without a doubt, work for somebody else. Because in my opinion, based on experience, that's how you do make more money, in the short term. Owning a business and being an entrepreneur is more of a long-term strategy. So in my case, all of the money I've ever had, plus the money the bank has that I've borrowed, I just keep reinvesting into the building and the business and the real estate and more businesses, so that I don't have 401k or, company retirement like some people do. But what I hope to have is something that I can sell after I'm ready to retire, or when I'm ready to retire.
And Debra, since kind of off that question before we move on to Carolyn, so identifying the market, because you did buy an existing business for acquiring the Bridal Expo and then opening your event expo. Can you talk a little bit about how you did that?
I think once you acquire a pre-existing business, especially that when I bought it, it was bankrupt. So being they are kind of affiliated with the other businesses I have, I already, had almost 20 years in with the experience to manage expectations of customers and relate to the industry and have knowledge in the industry, credibility in the industry, things like that. So starting the Cordoba Main was far easier, plus a lot less inventory because I'm renting space, than having the bridal shop or the Bridal Expo. However, in retrospect, also the wedding tree is a very large business compared to the expo and the Cordoba Main. So that has 18,000 square feet, 25 dressing rooms, and a reach of 4 states. So that is just a larger business, and the other two are really much easier to manage.
Great, thank you so much. And Carolyn, same question for you. So struggles and successes of being your own small business owner. If one of our viewers right now is looking at you thinking, once again, you're making millions of dollars and this is what I want to do, what are some stories that you can share with our viewers today?
I may make it look easy, but but it's not. I work long hours, and like Debra said, the 9 to 5 is gone. You're working until it's done. The successes is how I maintain is consistency and providing a good product, and doing what I say, coming through for customers. So that has allowed me to grow my brand. People know that, I'm here, I'm open when I say I am. And if I say I'm going to get something done, I'll get it done. And I stand behind that. And when I take in an order and I, let someone know it's going to be done, that they can trust that. It's not always pretty. I'm a typical E-Myth entrepreneur. So, I worked 15 years in the industry for other companies, corporations, and I decided to step out on my own. And I'm still struggling with dividing time or not even dividing. I'm still working in my business, constantly. The dream is to work on my business. So I'm hoping and planning for the beginning of next year that I'll be able to split my time. But right now it's difficult to do that. It's because I have to get it done, and I have a small team, and they do punch out at 5. So if the job's not done, I have to do it. So I have to do what I say. So.
And Carolyn, just COVID, of course, COVID-19 has hit all businesses across the U.S. and the world since March. So how has COVID-19 affected your business?
Well, initially it was, an immediate drop. I had some jobs on the table that customers called me. It was a catering company. I had a baker, and then their events were canceled. So then they didn't need what we were, at on the table, what we were talking about. So that kind of dropped. But right away, graduation season started. So I started getting a lot of demand for yard signs for graduation. So I was doing a lot of that. And my niche market is funeral programs. So that kind of stayed. It stayed steady. So I'm doing, pretty much the same, maybe a little bit more in my memorial line of business. But, it did kind of take a turn. And of course, with the political season, there's a lot of printing as it relates to that. Not a lot, but it's some, so that too keeps me steady. I'm a union printer. So politicians do come to me to get their printing done. So, it took a turn. And the other thing was employees. So, small team. I was down to, I think, 2 or 3 people. One of my employees had 3 small kids. So, she couldn't come to work. And, it was about 2.5 months I worked by myself.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I wasn't allowing customers in. So then customers had to email me. So I had to constantly be working, reading and deciphering through emails, and then also getting jobs done. So I was working 10, 13 hours a day and working on, Saturdays. And so it wasn't pretty at all. But I was constantly developing and changing procedures, constantly changing my signature, so letting people know how to do business with us. So one of the things I've done is changed my whole lobby around, repositioned my counters so that I'm now 8 feet away from my customers, instead of allowing them to come all the way into the store. So it's been quite an adjustment. But I think, just trying to stay on top of things and, keeping my current employees as safe as possible and still growing the business.
Great. And Debra, same question to you. And then after that, we're going to take a question from our audience. So I know the wedding industry in general has, changed a lot since March, but can you talk a little bit about how COVID-19 has affected your business?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, being in my 25th year of business, I couldn't wait to get here. Didn't think I would actually get here. When you start something when you're 9 years old, it's like...
Exactly.
But so the Court above Main, which is a venue only, we don't have a catering kitchen. That's only been open for 5 years, and that was devastating to go from, 2, 3, 4 events a month to 0. And there were other venues in our area having full-blown weddings since March. They still are, but the socially responsible aspect of me, as well as wanting to keep my employees safe, we just stopped. And so if I wouldn't have owned the building, that would definitely have been a bankrupt, closed business. So fortunately, that's where my long-term in business helped, because I was able to, keep it going by a couple, one grant and the wedding tree, and by owning the business. So I got a break on the rent by owning the building, I should say. The expo, that's once a year, every January. We're thinking about doing a virtual and in-person event. If numbers keep increasing, it'll be all virtual. In online marketing for the vendors that partake, they still have to, all the wedding industry people have to get in front of their customers and be ready for 21 and 22 and 23. So the 2 worst things you can do is stop advertising and say, I'm full for 2021 because everything postponed. I don't need to advertise. You still do. And, or stop advertising because you don't have any money. You still will need, if you want to stay in business, you have to have that exposure. The wedding tree definitely a different situation because part of our service is we help people try on dresses. And so even though most of the weddings postponed that were supposed to be happening this summer, there's still people buying for getting married in 2021 and 2022. We keep our doors locked. It's by appointment only. We keep the numbers down, and being, again, 3 floors and between 17 and 18,000 square feet, we're able to socially distance and everyone wears a mask, and we can accommodate customers that way. But the good news for the future is people are still buying wedding dresses. So it gives everybody hope, something to look forward to and a little bit of a sense of normalcy.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And now we're going to take a question from Kurt. So the majority of new businesses don't make it. What do you think sets you apart from those who have failed or closed their doors? So I'm going to start with Carolyn.
Okay. I think the grace of God that I'm in a business that can still, people are still ordering stuff, so that's, I drive by and I'm saddened for the companies that are not able to provide services during this COVID. So, the business that I built prior, that sets me apart. And then also, it's the type of services that I provide, allows me to continue to work.
Great. Thank you so much, Carolyn. And I know you're very well known in the Milwaukee area and have a great reputation.
Thank you.
And Debra, same question to you. So what do you think sets you apart from those who have failed or not successful?
I'm sorry, I separated my dogs
That's
and
okay.
closed the door, and now there's still one of them got the door open. So.
That's okay. That's okay.
I apologize. I'll never be asked on again, I can tell. I think when I think in the 90s when I started, it was sheer determination, blind faith. I just believed that it would happen no matter what. I mean, I took a pay decrease of 80% for the first 3 years. Wow. So it was just like I was going to make it work because I left my other career to do this, and everyone told me it wasn't going to work. Beyond that, and this is no offense to all the hard workers out there in other industries, but I say I know how hard we work to sell average ticket item of between $150 to $1,000. So for those people that are selling, $8 plates of food and $5 glasses, hats off to you. It takes the same amount of service and the same amount of work and expenses. So I think just being in an industry where things are a little more expensive, even though our inventory is also much higher than most industries. But I think that's part of it is when we do have a little bit of a profit, it gives us a little more to live on when things are going bad.
Great. Thank you, guys. We have another question from Arlene. So who do you reach out to for support with regards to your business? And Debra, we can start with you.
When I first started, one of my first employees was my Aunt Donna Shepard. She ended up working with me for 17 and a half years. And that allowed it so I could trust somebody to be at the store working with customers when I was doing things with my kids. So that, and then other, now in the 90s, the internet and Facebook and stuff was around, but now I spend so much time on LinkedIn and in all of the social media aspects, doing research on other businesses, other industries, and other countries. And my passion is learning. So more support instead of who would be what. That would be self-teaching myself all the time.
Great. Thank you, Debra. And how about Carolyn, for you? Who do you reach out to for support?
For support, I would say I've reached out to family and friends. My son actually relocated here, and he supports me. He actually works remotely for another company, but he's here in the office working for them. But then when he's free at the end of the day, he helps me. I kept a lot of not a lot, but a few past employees, like at arm's reach. And so I have about 2 of them that will come in and help me. Because again, when I was working by myself for a while, I mean, I was really on the verge of like breaking. I mean, I was so afraid, like if And even now, I'm still kind of fearful that, if I get sick or if I, sprain my ankle or something and I couldn't come in, how so many things that makes my business go wouldn't happen. But I do have some friends. I have support of some organizations as well. Like you said, WIBIC has been very supportive. I get people sending me information as it relates to the grants that are available, and that's helpful. They're constantly looking. I've got a friend of mine who comes in just to fill those out, so because I don't have time to. Correct. So I appreciate him, and so it's a lot of people that I can credit to support me. And I have a girlfriend now who has an HR background, and she's helping to, fill a position for me because, again, I don't have time to do that. So she placed an ad on Indeed and is helping me fill a position. So I reach out to those, who have supported me in the past or who I know care about me and they want my business to succeed. So
great. And ladies, also too, when we're and I'll come to that question. I'm sorry, I have one popped into my head. Our viewers right now, whether they're live or they do the replay, supporting local, shopping local, of course, is huge. Not everybody maybe does it. What would be some ways or advice that you would give to one of our viewers about like how we can support local, how we can shop small? And I'll start with Debra.
I always say yes, shop small versus shop local, because in my industry, it's there's a lot of towns don't have bridal shops. So, but still getting it from a locally owned bridal shop versus the one national chain there is or online speaks volumes. I'm an interim director for our downtown Main Street program in La Crosse right now. So having been on that board for 13 years, I think the biggest takeaway that I could share with anybody wondering is that when you spend $1, for every dollar you spend at a locally owned store, 70 cents or something like that stays in your community. Where if you're at a national chain, it drops to like 10 cents or something. It's just astronomically different. So that's why they say, even though small businesses can be very, very small, it still makes it's like 80 to 90% of the national economy because the money stays in the community. So it just means so much. We're actually in La Crosse doing a Shop Small Sunday promotion, and we're also incorporating take the pledge to shop local. We're asking everybody to take this pledge to spend 75% of their holiday shopping at our small businesses in downtown La Crosse. Great. And on top of that, we have some corporate sponsors that are matching dollars spent on Sundays. And that is going to the Business Resiliency Fund for the small businesses in town that are facing challenges with COVID.
Great. Thank you. That's a lot of good stuff going on in La Crosse. And Carolyn, same question for you. What recommendations would you make for shopping small and supporting local?
A lot of what Debra said. I mean, when you shop small and you shop, in your same city and town, you're helping yourself, because if you don't, if that company is no longer there, then, it's bad for everybody. So, it's kind of, you're nourishing the economy and your local economy, which means everything. Yeah.
Correct. And if we could pull up that question from our viewer. So I'll start with Carolyn. Carolyn, what is the biggest fear you have as a small business owner?
Well, right now, because I'm doing so much production, my fear is, I'm blessed to have the work, but now because I'm kind of like the glue, I'm just, fearful of, just anything that would prohibit me from being here. So I just thank God every day that I'm able to be here and get stuff done. Yeah,
absolutely. And Debra, same thing for you. What is your biggest fear as a small business owner?
I probably number one would be any disaster that would cause trouble and sadness and challenges for my staff or my customers to overcome. I mean, I've had many sleepless nights with, worrying about too much rain or a fire or glass breaking or something happening to my building or the customer's dresses or something happening that I employ over 20 people. If something happens to me or the business or the building, then none of us have jobs. So that would definitely be my biggest fear.
And I have one final question for you ladies before we wrap up, and I'll start, Debra, with you. What advice would you give to our viewers if they are looking to start or expand their current a business?
Can I say two things?
Oh, of course. Yep.
One would be to do it. You only live once. I'm super happy that I did it in my 20s because I can't imagine doing as much work as I did in my 20s and 30s now that I'm 51. Wow, do it before it's too late. And empower, if you're a female, empower other women along the way. Number two would be donate time. I have been on, at any given time, I've been on up to 10 nonprofit boards, and I give to the community. I donate when I can, time and treasure. And it just, not only does it make you and your staff feel better, people remember that you're doing that and come back and see you when they need something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Debra, for that. And Carolyn, same for you. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start a new business or expand?
I would say, again, do it, but also apply, as much time as you gave to your old employer. Know that it's gonna take some hard work. Try to keep your expenses down before, investing a lot and getting, a lot of bills. Try to use vendors instead of owning everything, right off the bat. Outsource if you can, and just work hard and stay true to your word.
Great. I want to thank you ladies so much. Entrepreneurship is near and dear to me, and also our producer who has come from a similar background. And I ditto. Thank you ladies. It was really great information. And I want to thank you both so much. And I know you guys are super busy, so for you guys to devote the 30 minutes to ensure that our viewers know how important it is to support small, we really do appreciate it. And there's also a website for some additional information on small businesses through AARP.org. And please also, there's some upcoming events that might be of interest to you that we will be bringing up. So October 26th, once again, this upcoming Monday, we have a mystery radio show by Corin Team of Racine, Wisconsin. You can find that information on our website. Also October 29th, Discover the Silent City, Votes for Women. And then November 11th at 1 p.m., you can learn all about the AARP Livable Communities Initiative. All the information can be found at the website below, or you can call that phone number for more information or to register. And then also join us next Thursday with guest Dr. Eric Tarula, who's going to be talking about Join the Movement. It is World Stroke Day, and you will have a guest host, which is Sam Wilson, our AARP Wisconsin State Director. So definitely come back, enjoy, and join us for that show. If you're watching this in replay, please make sure to share this on your Facebook.com page or YouTube. The more information we can get to small business owners would be just really beneficial. And thank you, ladies, again so much. We really appreciate your time and commitment. And thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe.